One of the most fun things I've gotten to do over the past few years is head to Montreal here and there to see the progress on the Metropolitan Express Network, the REM, the new automated suburban rail service being built to serve Greater Montreal, and the biggest single project expansion of a Canadian rapid transit system, and possibly any rapid transit system in North America ever, at 67 kilometers or over 40 miles long. This past week, there was an opportunity to head back to Montreal and go underground to see the rapidly progressing work on the central core of the system, including the almost entirely complete central station, as well as the control center for the entire network. So let's dive in and take a look at all of this awesome infrastructure. While the stuff going on in Montreal this week was awesome, I was under the weather to say the least, and so friend of the channel and infrastructure consultant Alex Glista swooped into the rescue, picking up a camera from HQ and handling the filming for the channel on this video. The tour started adjacent to the Eaton Centre in downtown Montreal at McGill Station, an existing metro station which will become an interchange with the REM when the second phase of the project north of Central Station opens, alongside the station at Edouard-Montpetit, which we saw last winter and talked about in a previous video. Walking along, you can actually see the new station being built cut and cover along McGill College Avenue. Before entering the site, there were the usual safety briefings, and then things headed underground into the future station structure, which of course has been built along the Mount Royal Tunnel, the over 100-year-old rail tunnel which will carry the core of the REM. Within the future McGill REM station, there's a lot to see. Pillars are everywhere for overhead decking, and hoses run here and there to help dewater the station, which is yet to be fully waterproofed and was fairly muddy. Within the station, you can see where the future platforms and tracks will lie, with a central dividing wall. The station itself is going to be directly accessible from the Montreal Eaton Centre as well as the Green Line of the Metro, and will have a smart but simple design. Having this connection will be hugely useful, as the orange and green lines run parallel but do not connect in the core of Montreal. The new connection across will massively improve redundancy here, and allow people who might not be able to easily make the walk from Central Station to easily get up to the Green Line to travel to destinations along it, potentially lightening the load on the crowded Barrie-UQAM interchange. At the south end, you can see into the curved vault of the Mount Royal Tunnel, heading towards Central Station. You can also see up to the skyscrapers above, which is very cool. Walking down the tunnel, we come across something very interesting, and no, this isn't a video artifact. The light is projected up onto the ceiling of the tunnel and helps workers with rehabilitating it. The different colors represent scans taken of the surface of the ceiling, which help workers figure out the profile and where additional concrete needs to be added. From here, we continue down the Mount Royal Tunnel towards Central Station, which is only around 200 meters away. This section of the tunnel is actually super interesting because it was originally divided into two separate vaults, but they were badly corroded and worn away from road salt on the street above, so the tunnel had to basically be totally rebuilt as a new single vault using a unique construction method. At the end of the short stroll down the tunnel, we come to a really interesting location at the southern portal of the Mount Royal Tunnel where we can see south into the tracks of Central Station. The space really opens up here with a bit of a bell mouth, and was previously home to loads of special track work that allowed trains to be directed from the station tracks into the tunnel. This is a very cool perspective to see. Once again, above us, you can see the much older roof from the older station construction, as well as the duct banks which will carry electrical and communication cables. From here, you can see down onto the platforms themselves, as well as some leads into what were the older tracks through the tunnel, as well as construction for the major REM platform at Central Station, which will easily be the nicest platform here. Now, from here we went into Montreal Central Station's Great Hall, where you wait for and board intercity and commuter trains before actually going down to the REM platform to check things out. This platform will hopefully open in December of this year along with the initial section of the line, and should see service up to every 2 minutes at peak times. Descending onto the platforms at Central, we got our first look at a nearly complete REM station. The first thing you notice when you actually get to the boarding part of the platform is just how massive it is. The single island REM platform was created by taking two previous island platforms and infilling the old tracks in between them, evidenced by the darker tiles here. This creates an enormous platform for what will likely be one of the busiest stations on the network. What's also a really nice touch is that the X-shaped braces that originally lay between the two tracks at the center of the original two island platforms have been kept in the new station, as well as the arches that ran down the middle of the previous smaller islands. Within the platform itself, you can also see vertical access points getting built out, as well as numerous mechanical and electrical system rooms. Of course, there's also platform screen doors, which are being deployed at scale for the first time in Canada on the REM. What's especially cool is based on best practice from places like Taipei, these doors will feature indicators of how busy each car is, so passengers can move down the platform to doors for less busy cars to help increase overall capacity and spread out demand across each train. Now, in the afternoon, things headed south to Brossard, where lots of activity is going on at the South Shore Maintenance Center, which is actually one of several spread across the network, and where we came almost 2 years ago to see the first trains unveiled. They have a lot more of them now. The South Shore Maintenance Center is really more of an operations and maintenance center, and that's because this will be the location from which the whole network is monitored, via hundreds of CCTV cameras, and from here, trains can be moved around and into and out of service. You'll also see the main control room from above here being configured just for the initial segment of the network, which is less than a quarter of the final build-out, which will see this room fill out a lot more. The other nice thing about this location is that there's actually a station here right up against the Greenbelt, meaning people visiting Montreal from other places who might be driving into the city from the south up from the US or from most of the rest of Quebec to the east can leave their car here and not clog up the city streets. There's also a big weather-protected bus terminal and 3 platforms, kind of like you see all over the place in London. Overall, it's amazing to see this project coming so far, and it's awesome that creators were able to get into the sites to share it with the public. Remembering back just about 5 or 6 years since it was first announced, I just can't wait to get on board.